Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for joining us for the Clayton Oliver special. Chris is here just as a guest today because he doesn't have the man Clary. Swizz, are you there?
I'm here and I have Clary, so...
So today it will be the two sane operators. It will be Swizz and myself with our guest speaker, Chris, who knows nothing about talent or players who can go 204, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I've had my share of good luck this season. I didn't have like Luke Ryan, so I'm okay. And I traded in Josh Kelly just when he started posting tons, and I'm so.
Hey,
I suppose for the year I'm going all right.
You have Brayshaw though, so apparently he'll be a test for another 2 weeks for you, Chris. So enjoy that one if he plays this weekend.
Peter Bell said he's extremely confident. He used the words extremely confident that Brayshaw will be playing this week. So,
well, I hope he trains out of his skin and does another calf. Then Chris,
just training out of his skin.
Just for you. Now, before we move on, please do like, subscribe, follow us on all our socials: SC Insider 100, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. On YouTube, Chris.
Yes, YouTube. Just search for Supercoach Insider on all of our audio platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and the rest.
Yes, indeed.
We're a bit everywhere.
Really loving the comments as well. YouTube and Twitter are absolutely kicking off. Facebook.
Oh, dude, by the way, I like...
You got likes?
Tripled my like volume last week on my Twitter account. It's now up to like 50.
Well, what is it again? CFX?
CFX_1 on Twitter is my personal handle.
There you go. Okay, so there you go. There's Chris's and Swizz. We still need to work on getting you some kind of online...
Swizz just gets into arguments with people. I'm not sure if that...
Yep.
Swizz, oh, wait. That's kind of what we do.
It is. And again, remember, we're not an advice page. We're an opinion page.
And our opinion is the only opinion that matters.
We're 26 on Twitter if you want to get into an argument with me, especially Essendon supporters, always up.
You just probably fight with your missus,
I
don't you?
actually do need to ask you, Swizz. How is it being a Richmond supporter these days?
Man, it's still good, isn't it? We're in the top half of the ladder still.
You mean ninth?
I love what you posted the other day. It's like, I'm embracing another week of ninth jokes. Can't wait to remind them about the 3 premierships we won. So you're not going too bad, mate. That's good to hear.
Yep. So
no, I can't complain, mate. And I'm up with my dad this week. I'm in Cobram. I've got out of the Melbourne COVID bubble, so I'll crack a drink open and get right into this podcast.
Cheers. And speaking of, we are on the old goatee hazy pale ale, and it's delicious, by the way. Very delicious.
Very, very delicious. Okay, so the schedule for today, we're looking at rookies, particularly. There's a couple to note that people are interested in. We're also looking at some strategies, looking at the possible scenario of a bye this week for, Essendon West Coast. Hypothetically, we think it'll go ahead, but just hypothetically, whether that changes things in our strategy going into the byes. Also, a couple of cheap options that people keep banging on about. Are they worthwhile? Are they not? And that kind of wraps us up. So it should be a nice, quick pro quo.
It should be a little bit quicker than normal, and even the rookie options that we're looking at, they're scarce anyway. But I think that's probably where we need to start in terms of the rookies. And really, there's the 2 big ones in Cody Weightman and James Madden. But I suppose we start with Weightman. Posted at 98. Sorry, mate?
Is it Weightman or Weightman?
I don't know. It's spelt like weight, as in like lifting weights. I'm not sure. Weightman.
A couple of people refer to him as the flea, so I was thinking it must be some sort of relation to the great Dale Weightman from Richmond. So that's what I'm going to go with, but I'm happy to go with your Queensland interpretation.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I like the Weightman. The Weightman? I don't know. Who knows?
Yes, I don't know how it's pronounced, but all I know is that he's definitely needs to...
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
Needs to get that meatloaf.
Needs to hit that meatloaf.
He played very well. He only had 14 possessions for that 98. He had 11 score involvements. Now, I wouldn't usually be looking at someone who's 173K as a downgrade option because you're not making much cash, especially with the trade-out options this week. I mean, most people are looking at guys like McNeil or Scott to trade out. You're only going to maximise maybe 100K at the best of it.
Right. Now, you tell people why they should look at Weightman, whatever his fucking name is, and then I will come up with a counter, and then Swizz will be our adjudicator and give their final sense.
Well, the easiest is that he offers you cover over the buy round because his buy is the middle buy. And within 2 weeks, if he posts back-to-back 70s, he's going to make 100K in 2 weeks. So he'll be at about 270 to 280K within 2 weeks, which you may even be able to just trade him out. And even though that might be a little bit early, it could be, you get to that premium by using the cash from Weightman in 2 weeks. As long as he gets you out 2 weeks and goes 70-70, I don't see, there's no negative in my opinion, because you make 100K, you get to that next buy, you potentially can save you a donut with the amount of cash that he's going to make and be able to trade to another premium. There's a lot of positives in getting in Weightman. Obviously the negative is his price, which isn't great.
Hey, my job's the negatives, Chris. You stick to your lane.
I'll let you go with the negatives, mate. What do you think?
Overpriced, 170,000. Overpriced by at least 50. Do not touch anyone that's 173,000 ever after the season starts, unless they are exceptional. Even if there's a fire, do not touch them. The other one is Chris. No, my turn. They're not going to flog shit heaps like St Kilda every single week.
Might have that one.
I think they might have had over 2,000 of the points. It was an absolute shellacking. They smashed them. Weightman, I think realistically, you're just going to have to wait, man, because he is not ripe for the picking.
Oh, what do you think, Swizz? Tell us what you really feel.
Yeah, I've got to actually agree with Ben there, and that I get the buy cover, but yeah, not everybody gets to play St Kilda every week, and that was just shit.
Yeah. And Essendon are few and far between.
And the thing is, he's got the D's, the Freo game, but then Geelong and then West Coast away. If you were to keep him that long, they're actually tough opposition compared to what the Saints threw up. So, I think as a small forward, he's more likely to go that 40 to 50, which is going to dent that cash generation.
Well, he kicked 2 goals too, and the team kicked 21 goals. I mean, that's not going to happen every week.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's considerations. I think you're overlooking the fact that he's going to save you a 0 or potentially. Depending on your side and structure. Like, for example, me right now, I have Fullerton in my forward line getting me a 0 every week. The only way that I can avoid a 0 in that is to bring in a forward rookie. There's no other forward rookie outside of Madden, but I also need to trade out Scott. So trading out Scott doesn't fix that rookie situation. It just replaces one with another.
Yep. I think if you're trying to free up cash to get a primo, then you're probably looking at possibly a Madden. If you're looking at job security and having someone on field, then Weightman's probably your go.
Yeah, and it's a short-term solution for me because it'll only be hopefully only be the 1 or 2 weeks playing on field. But
when you said 14 touches, though, 12 of those were kicks, which is very SC friendly. Unlike someone who handballs it all the time, 12 kicks out of 14, that's a really good ratio. So I will give you that one.
Yeah, look,
and Ben, he has 3 free kicks for, so that's always going to bump up anyone's score.
But you're not looking for him to score 98s every week.
As I
said, I think I think he's got the ability to hit 70-70. I'm not looking, as I said, if he makes you 100K within 2 weeks, would you complain about it, or would that be enough?
Well, he could also hit you at 20-20 and you could have that perfect vision, but who knows?
That was a really bad pun. Yeah. So, look, I like the pick. I think that he's one that will be able to at least cover a forward line, especially for me. I think he's going to cover a forward line donut. That's the first thing he's going to be able to do. And second of all, the other thing to consider is who else are you downgrading in the next couple of weeks? So if you're not going Weightman and you're going Madden, okay, that's fine. But who are you getting next week?
Who knows? Let us know.
Do you want to chat with that when we chat strategy?
Yes,
let's keep that there.
Let us know what you're thinking. Are you on the Weightman train? How do you say it? Just let us know. All right, we're just opinions. I have no idea.
We're an opinion page.
We're an opinion page.
What is it? Not an advice page.
Yeah, when we give when we're swearing or whatever, but you're an advice page and you're giving shit advice. I'm like, mate, we're giving an opinion. We don't give a fuck what you think. So yes, okay. Moving on. No, Madden is the one. Now I've had people already message me as a Brisbane Lions fan, and they're like, "Oh, Madden, is he playing? Is he gonna keep his role?" And everyone wants to know these things. It's an interesting one for me. Now I think his first quarter, Madden looked pretty shit. He got some good marks and then butchered it, and he could have gone. When you look at, I think there was a long bomb in, and I don't know if it was Rewald or Lynch got the mark. Madden ran over, should have actually jumped third person in with the spoil. Sorry, Chris, just getting in front of your face here. And he didn't do it. He just hung back. He didn't actually crash the pack. And I think Harris Andrews or whoever got smashed in that was actually looking to him saying, mate, you've got to come over and help me. After that, though, I thought he was exceptional. His last 3 quarters, intercepts were really good. It was quite funny there how he had to come around the mark. I don't think he was used to that, and I couldn't work out why at the time. And I'm like, oh, he's Irish. That's why.
He's obviously raw, isn't he?
He is raw. Exceptional speed, though. I think he has the record combine 20-meter sprint ever, which is ridiculous. He's got a good mark on him. I think he has definitely got some skills and attributes that you could use in a defensive line or even in a forward line. My concern, though, is when we start to look at the issues that we had were the people that might be coming back in, and would they impact them? Chris?
I suppose, look, that is probably where we start. There is 3 players that could potentially replace him, but they are all injured right now. So obviously he came in when there was 2 defensive outs, Darcy Gardner and Ryan Lester. So he came in as one of those. There's 3 guys that are coming back. Obviously Lester's a short-term injury. We've also got Jack Payne. He's only 1 to 2, listed as 1 to 2 away. And Noah Answorth as well is listed as, I think, either 1 to 2 or 2 to 3.
Yeah, he's not long.
So I think it's Michael Whiting, the AFL reporter up here in Queensland. He claims that regardless, those 3 guys are probably likely to come back through the VFL now. Anyway, at least for 1 or 2 games before they were to crack the AFL side. That's one consideration. The second consideration is that in round 7 for his debut game, he actually replaced Darcy Gardner in the lineup. So Gardner was out injured, and Madden was the one coming in for him.
But the thing with that, though, is that they won convincingly against Port Adelaide, and he was then dropped the week after.
Well, because Darcy Gardner came back, didn't he? So it was only a 1 week for Gardner.
Yeah, and then he did his shoulder again.
So with Gardner out for 12 to 14, does that mean, now this is a question, does that mean that he's more likely an out for Gardner, a replacement for Gardner, not for Leicester, and therefore, regardless of what happens with those 3 other guys, because those 3 other guys are generally those small to medium defender types, is he that third tall defender that they want? Even though he's only, I think, 186 centimetres.
Yeah, he had a good leap.
He's got a good leap, got a good mark, got a good intercept on him, and that's generally what they want out of Gardner. So
here's my opinion, and Swizz, I'll get to you straight after that. I thought he was great aerially. I think he's also a good third man up. Leicester has been known to also play tall. I think it was Leicester on Cox once. It's quite funny, but yeah. Leicester can play tall, and Leicester is actually listed as test this week. He is one that they might actually throw straight back into the side because of the caliber of player that he is. Now, if it's all going to depend on that. If they throw Leicester tall, right, then it might shift things a little bit. You also have Archie, who's playing forward. He can also go back into defence. So say Leicester plays tall, Archie could also go back into defence. I'm saying I like Madden, and I think the role is his for now. I think he probably plays tall, and Leicester plays a little bit more flexible. But does he have the security? I don't think so.
Do you need the security though?
No, you don't need to.
Enough?
It's 2 weeks is enough, and he's there. If he's named, you just pick him because number one, I think it frees up cash, and the name of the game is to get cash, and then you hope that they play through the buys. We don't know, right? You are hoping that he is obviously replacing Gardner. We will know more this week. If Leicester's named and Madden's named, perfect. Then you actually know over the next couple of weeks he will keep his spot. If Leicester's still out and doesn't play and Madden is named, then it's going to be a little bit more of an issue, I think.
What do you think, Swizz?
Yeah, no, I agree with that because I'm looking at Brisbane's team that played us, and probably outside of Pryor, who's the next out, and then you got Tom Berry, who's the sub. There's no other obvious players who are going to fall out of that lineup. So if it's that one sort of bad game, or as Ben said, with depending on the Leicester situation there, he could find himself out of that side very quickly. Hope, but as we said, it's only really wanting him for the next couple of weeks, and then you hope maybe he comes on a couple of weeks later after that. Maybe other injuries happen. You just don't know if there's. It's a bit of the, I guess, the Frederick situation with Port, where we all thought, he looks so good. How can he not play? But because of the amount of good players Port Adelaide have, and Brisbane's the same situation, just finds himself out of that side. So until teams are know, it'll be anybody's guess. But I do agree with a lot what Ben is saying there.
Yeah, my main concern is Cockatoo also playing now in the seconds, starting to get some continuity together.
Oh, he will play over the buys, I reckon.
Yeah, so here's the issue then, because if he's a pressure forward, Cockatoo, right? Then, okay, so maybe then Leicester plays taller, Archie goes and plays the smaller defensive role, and then you have Cockatoo coming into that forward line. They are so flexible that it wouldn't surprise me if they actually shift it that way, and then Madden ends up out.
One also, I think the first out is probably Dev Robertson. I think that...
Oh.
Yeah, I think...
No, he was so impressive on...
Nope.
Nah, he's strong, man. I had a lot for him.
The reason is Cam Ellis-Yolman is absolutely tearing up the VFL. He's had 2 back-to-back games in the high 30s, early 40s of possessions, and it's literally a matter of time before he replaces Dev Robertson in the starting side.
Nah, I reckon he's replacing the Beast. Wouldn't that be funny? Beast getting all cocky and then out you get.
Beast has played well, though.
He's done all right, but
He's played well better than Robertson.
I have not... No,
Robertson has a higher ceiling, obviously, but...
You're not talking about Robert, right? Robertson, the young fella. Yeah. I have not been more impressed with him than I was on the weekend. It didn't work out for him completely. He is so strong in his body and his core, and he was hitting packs and actually putting pressure on. When there was an issue, he was remonstrating, getting in their face as well. I thought he was very impressive. The most impressed I've been with him.
He loves the turnover ball.
He's the most... That was the most impressed I've been with him yet.
He loves a clanger, though.
Well, he's not Jad. He's not short. Jaden's short.
He does love a clanger too. Just something to note. I think that Cam Ellis-Yolman is before Cockatoo in the pecking order in terms of coming into that side. So
Madden's very much a 50-50. I think if you're trying to free up cash and he's named, you hit and hope he's named for another 2 to 3 rounds, and that's it.
I think he can easily make you 100K. I don't think he's going to make much more than that, depending on his job security. But as long as he gets you, I think if he gets you to the bye, you've had a win. Anything after that is a bonus.
Yep. So is he essential though, Chris?
I think it's team dependent, to be completely honest.
Swizz, is he essential?
Yeah, team dependent, and that if you've got, say, a Cozzy, it gives you that flexibility if you need a defender to downgrade. Yeah, the defender forward does give you some flexibility, so that the other positions don't. So
Cozzy owners, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm saying if you're trying to free up cash, I think he's a great option. Is he essential? If you can do a double upgrade this week, then I think you do the double upgrade.
I don't think you double upgrade at all.
Why not?
Because who else are you going to get cash from next week or the week after?
Anyone. Go to 102K rookie, mate.
That's
Maximise your cash.
Great idea when you're just going into the buys.
Perfect ideas.
That's a really bad idea. Do not actually. I'm just going to step out here and give actual advice as opposed to an opinion. Do not do that when you're just going into the buys. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Hey, Chris, which premium do you not have this year? Is it Clayton Oliver? How does that go? I looked through the chats. Chris was talking a month ago about Clayton Oliver coming in this week, and then that somehow shifted.
4 weeks later.
4 weeks later, you still don't have Steele either. So what is happening, mate? You just keep talking this big game and then not following through.
I keep shifting my decisions based on chasing value, which is really annoying.
Shifting decisions, and you're trying to give lovely advice to the people out there?
The advice of don't bring in a rookie that's not going to play during the buys. I think that's pretty damn fucking solid advice if you ask me.
No, I'm smiling as
It might also be an opinion, but it's definitely advice.
I'm smiling as I said it. Obviously, I didn't have it.
In saying that, aren't you ranked like 996 or something now, Chris? Maybe you should.
I am, unfortunately.
Chris and I did a complete. We did a complete switcheroo. I was like 9. I think I was 990th, and then Chris and we pretty much did a complete switch.
540 or something.
Yeah. So now I'm 5, about the same, and you're back where I was, which is quite funny. So there you go. Okay. So other than that, there's no real rookies for this week. Next week, again, there's probably not too much.
There's Tom Wilson, but if he lasts another week, I'll be surprised because essentially you've got Nathan Murphy that was the sub last week. He played on a Sunday, which means they want to get him to play this week. Based on how good he was playing before his concussion, I would say that he's definitely playing AFL football this week. I'd say he's a very, very high chance. If he doesn't, I'd be ropeable if I was him. He gets held over, doesn't play VFL, obviously, because of the being named for the AFL side on a Sunday afternoon, doesn't play that week, and then the following week goes, oh, no, you're back to the VFL. He's got to work his way back into the side. Like, fuck, I'd be fucking furious.
Yeah, but like this, surely it's the time where Collingwood just tank and just play all their fucking rookies.
Oh, that time was round 1, bro. I have no idea what they were like. Why is Chris Mayne still playing football? Like, don't get me wrong, he's actually played well for Collingwood especially this year, and the last couple of years he's been serviceable. But like, why play him?
Chris
Joshy
Mayne.
Thomas, mate. Let's talk about Joshy Thomas.
Josh Thomas. Let's play
Hang
Josh
on.
Thomas as a centre bounce midfielder. Let's do that. That's a great idea. Let's
Come
do
on
that.
now. Let's all agree Chris Mayne is getting a bit on the nose.
Good one. Well done. Yes, well done. No, he's actually he's played really well. Actually, speaking of, Poulter has played very, very good football. Just quietly, he looks to be a dead set gun.
He was a little butcher though.
Yeah, lucky he kicked that goal because I tell you what, Champion Data clearly don't have him in their team.
Yeah, absolutely.
He pushed the ball, but geez, at one point he was minus 45. Dream team to Supercoach.
Yeah, no, that's full on. Okay, looking forward to after the Gold Coast and Hawthorn bye, you have two ruckmen, Ned Reeves and Zach Smith. Reevesy, I thought, did admirably well. He actually went back, got a few intercept marks, etc. Zach Smith will be their ruck, assuming they don't replace him, which would be funny in the supplement sort of, not scandal, that's Essendon, mid-season replacement of players. Yep. Wouldn't surprise me if they actually went and got a better ruck than Zach Smith halfway through the year. That'd be quite funny.
I think they definitely get a ruck, 100%. There's no way that Gold Coast do not pick up a ruck in the mid-season draft.
Agreed.
I think that's the important point, and I know we touched on it last week, that we're a week away from this mid-season draft where you're going to see some players between 102K and 123K coming in, and if you're drafting these players, you would expect them to come in to the side, a bit like when Marlon Pickett was picked up, but obviously that year he was injured. So I think there could be some possibilities on the horizon through that bye period. I
can't see that happening. I can't see next week, which is the bye round, right? So round 12, the bye rounds happen. And then we're expecting round 13 or round 14 for a debut for a guy that's been in the program for a week.
No, I don't think so either.
I can't see that happening.
Usually, even anyone, they build up for at least a month. And even then, it's kind of like luxury trades at the end. It's not going to help us at all.
Unless they already play in their existing VFL team, I can't see that happening because they need to learn structures and systems and everything.
Otherwise, they're a liability.
It's just not going to happen unless there may be a small pressure forward.
There are going to be a few players that I would expect who are going to be picked up from the VFL system. So,
absolutely. But if they're in the existing, let's say for example, Collingwood have a VFL team, right? That VFL squad obviously know the AFL system because they all train together. So it makes sense that if the Collingwood was to draft someone in the Collingwood VFL team, then they already know the systems and structures, so they're 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of the next best player.
Yep. They have a pre-season for a reason, and sometimes they need 2 pre-seasons if you're St Kilda. No, but you need to know strategy and game plan for a reason. Otherwise, you are an absolute liability. I will touch on some, though, because Reeves and Smith will play after their bye, so I think it'll be a good indicator as to how they're going. Smith's obviously an expensive price. I don't know if I want to pay 216K, but it might be nice to have a little backup option in the ruck. Someone who might make you an extra 100K as well. Not a bad little option. Reeves, I thought was impressive. The big one for me is Briggs. Taylor is now injured 8 weeks, I believe. They are now extremely short on talls. Yes, they got one back last week, but
I think Phil Davis is due back in a week or two.
Is he?
Have a look at the injury list, but I'm pretty sure he's due back soon. Kieran Briggs absolutely dominated in the twos this week. He had 26 disposals and 45 hitouts and had an absolute fucking field day. Do I think he plays over Flynn this week? I don't think there's any chance in hell that that's happened, but I do think that Flynn probably plays this week, and I think it's his last week.
Phil Davis, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, so he might play for a week or two and then
Well,
be
no,
shit.
he won't because in 2 weeks is their bye. So he'll play for 1 week and then he won't even get a price rise.
Right.
And then it's the same with Ned Reeves and Zach Smith. They will play 1 more week and then they have their bye. So you can't bring them in again, a 0 onto your field to replace no one. You're not going to bring them in.
Oh, no, I was talking about Zach Smith would be something and Reeves would be waiting till after the bye because then you might be able to downgrade Bruce.
Exactly. So who's next week? So Ronan O'Connor got dropped. So unless he comes in.
No one's next week.
There's literally no rookie on the bubble next week.
None.
Not one.
So, yeah,
So you're either going early.
No, even then. Actually, if Ronan is not sub again, then he would be the week after. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I like Ronan O'Connor, and like what he did in 50% game time was epic.
Yeah, but then sub the next week. So
If he gets named this week and then gets named for a third, I'll pick him up. But I can't see it happening.
yeah,
So-
and you're right. There's not much there. After that, it's basically the week after. Yeah, you're right. A couple of those are the buys. So they're the week after. They're
Exactly.
like 4 weeks
There's
away.
literally no bubble players next week, and the only bubble players are the week after currently.
Yep.
And other than that, we're going early on potential debuts from this week, or waiting around for these magical rookies to come from the mid-season draft. So that's why I think that strategy-wise, double downgrade makes sense this week, especially if you need forward, because they're only rucks as well. Like there's some people that can't bring in a ruck, they can't downgrade to a ruck. Like imagine if you started with freaking, Meek or whatever, and you had to trade Flynn early to get up to Gorn or a Grundy. You know what I mean? Like there's people out there that don't even have Flynn. I know there's not many of them, but they don't have Flynn. They can't downgrade anyone anyway.
Write that down.
Write that down. Yeah. So I don't know. For this week, there is I'm likely to do a double downgrade to get cash so that I can make moves around the buys. Because I don't see any other way of making cash right now for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, interesting. For me, I think I need Dusty Martin in. So whether I go Dusty and then someone else to free up a little bit of cash, I am considering, because this is the last week before you're playing 18 aside, so I am considering going Heeney and Dusty. But I think I'm going to be limited by that. So I really need Scott to actually miss. Hopefully he's a little bit sore. If he plays, then I have to get rid of him. So Dusty in, and then I'm freeing up cash. I don't care if I bring in 102K rookie next week. I am maximizing cash to upgrade.
That's a terrible idea.
I need cash on field.
Yeah, no, you don't. You
Yeah, I
don't
do.
need cash on field. You need
Cash.
playable players.
So then, I need cash. So then I can then bring in my premiums. However, I need to do it.
Okay. Well, do you have a full squad of playing rookies right now?
Yep.
That's not true.
I have 3 people that weren't playing. 1 was a sub. That was it. 2 players.
Yeah. So I would have a look at your team before doing that and make sure that you can field 18 each week.
Yep. Easy.
Okay.
Easy. Now,
it's real easy until those players, those
real
rookies that
easy.
are playing, are not playing in the buys because they get dropped for no
the issue
reason.
I have is the last buy. So she'll be right.
There's a lot of that going around at the moment. Oh no, it'll work itself out.
That's what happened with Clary, mate. My Highmore captain this week, the one that you missed out on. Yeah, she'll be right.
At least I know I'll be the only one out of this group still in the top 1,000 come 2 weeks on. So.
All right, okay, so what's your thoughts, Wiz, on the double down, mate?
Yeah, I don't mind it to that. If you need to get cash of that, I'm in that debate where I'm going, do I go one and a Heeney type or one of these others that we might talk about soon? But definitely if you have no cash and you've got some rookies that they've fattened themselves out and need to be sent to the abattoir for a slaughter. Sorry for those people, vegans out there.
No cash, Wiz. There's no cash here.
Yeah,
You hearing me? No cash.
I don't get it.
Is it Chopper? Is it no cash?
Nah,
no cash here?
Australian movies don't do a thing for me.
Oh, mate, Two Hands is on Foxtel. I just watched some of that before.
Australian
Fucking
movies
great
don't
movie.
do- Do I
Two
did I
Hands.
stutter?
Did I stutter, boy? Am I getting all nibbly dibbly?
Yeah,
Two
Australian movies
Hands.
just don't
Two
do
Hands
anything
is
for
like
me.
the best. Heath Ledger, Two Hands, Australian movie. Fucking great.
It's one of my favourite movies. It's a ripper. Cripps.
Australian movies don't do a thing for me. Do I have to say it again?
Jeez.
Well, do you want us to move on about your deprived childhood?
Exactly right. The Simpsons doesn't do anything for me. All my 44 followers that started following me just left.
All right, let's move on. Let's start landing our plane and
All right.
move on. Let's go on to cheap options because there are 2 that are heavily named. Cerra is one. Bailey Smith is another. Based on their cheapness and possibility to improve, Cerra is 408K. He is 76,000 under where he started. Break even at 53. So some might say he is ripe for the picking. Mm-hmm. Let's have a look at his scoring history. Starts off, he's got 3 scores over 120. Got injured on a 15, which is why he's still really cheap because he had that 15 in his cycle still. Just got a 102. Boys, are you on the Cerra train?
No. You go, Swizz, before I jump in.
Okay. I'm not on it, but there's actually 4 options, and we might float the other 2 after these 2 main ones. But he's the one I like the best of these options between 400 and 440. And he's got he does have some great scoring, does have the right role, but not for me.
Swizz, if you mention Green, Tom Green, you're getting fucking booted. we said this pre-game. We are not the Tom Green fan club. So I don't know what your other one is that you want to mention there, Swizz, but hold that.
It would be wrong to not mention the Carlton captain, wouldn't it?
Oh, actually, no, I'm in. You can say whatever you like. You got your own fucking segment here.
Would be wrong to mention him. You're right.
Oh,
no, okay, so I'll just jump in on Cerra. Actually, I just want to have a overarching view of all of these picks. They're all shit, and you shouldn't be spending your money on any of them. I get that people need a cheaper option because they are poor on cash for whatever reason. I just don't think I would rather 100% rather double downgrade instead of jump on one of these guys and actually get a premium next week. I don't understand why you wouldn't. If you double down this week, you could easily jump to a steal next week.
Chris, I will throw one at you. Would you rather a 400 option as one of these guys and get one of the like a Weightman, or do Ben's thing and get a 102 non-playing rookie and get the $400,000 buyer?
He says neither. I could see his eyes.
So
are you talking about a steal and a 102k player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or go Weightman and have to go Cripps, for example, or someone in those.
I'd get Madden and hope that you have the extra 20k. No, there's a couple of things I would do. I would just get Heeney. I think that's probably the most logical next decision because Heeney, he's a stepping stone. So I don't see Heeney as someone you keep in your team for the entire season. I see him as someone that you get until after the buys when Paddy Dangerfield is ready to be picked up. So that is different. If you're getting someone like a Cerra, if you're getting someone like a Bailey Smith, you're only riding that, hopefully you're really only riding that train for 3 to 4, maybe 5 weeks, and they make you a little bit of cash. But at least we know if Heeney stays fit, he's going to make you at least $100,000. Whereas I don't know.
Are you talking about Cripps now? If Cripps stays fit?
No, Heeney.
No, same story though.
Cripps isn't fit. That's not a question.
Hey.
Did I stutter again? Bailey Smith is an interesting option for that, but he's still 400k, so you're losing already 50k. He needs to make 100k from 400, which is harder, but he's got a good 6-week block of potential good scoring with Treloar out. Is he a season keeper? Absolutely not. And I think if you're treating any of these guys like that, then you're already behind the 8 ball. Again, what I said earlier is double down instead and then get Steele next week or just get a better option. There's better options. I'd rather Darcy Parish. Wait 1 week and get the better option next week. Done.
Yeah, Bailey Smith has only gone over the 100 once as well this year. And I think the appeal is people are like, Dunkley's down and Treloar's down. And again, Bailey Smith, he did after halftime get more centre bounces, etc., etc. Didn't help the fact that they smashed the Saints. So he didn't even hit 100 last week. 97 he got. I think he could go 100 flat. I do share the same thing, but for me it's slightly different as far as if you're playing for leagues and you could have one of these cheaper options as one of those other loose ones. You're kind of just hoping on your week in finals in your league that they actually go well. That's the only difference for me. Overall, I think you can't do it at all.
If you're entering a matchup and you got Bailey Smith versus any top 10 midfielder, you're just fucking shitting your pants.
Yeah, but if you don't have the cash, then no cash here, you would possibly look at some cheaper options to get you through.
Steele's only 160k more.
You say only, that could be like 2 people's downgrades.
It's one downgrade. It's like it's
how many players are
to James Madden?
Yeah, if they have Scott.
I don't know how many people don't have Scott. I don't know. For me, it doesn't make sense to be jumping on these guys. I think if you're jumping on a cheaper option, you're jumping on Heeney. Outside of that, you're not taking that risk. You're just not. I don't know. Am I crazy here? Did I take crazy pills?
You might be. Cripps, let's go, Swizz. Why would people be interested in Paddy Cripps? He got to say, what did he score this week? A 95. He's actually had a couple good weeks in a row, guys.
But you say 95 is a good week.
Yeah, 95 and a 94,
okay.
Considering...
If I wanted Taranto scoring, I'd just get Taranto. Oh, my God.
He's cheaper than Taranto has
he's had
ever
a couple
been.
of good weeks. He had a fucking 95.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
For Cripps, mate, he's looking
That's
good.
half of what he scored against the Lions last year, mate.
Excuse me, he is only like 30 points a game down on average on Walsh, thank you. So you just calm down,
Oh, he's
Chachi.
coming back with the thunder. Watch that. This creep went up on you with his 95.
I should just pay you $50 right now on that bet and just
You
move on.
should.
Should be like sports bet, just pay out early.
Pay him out early. Call me AI. Yeah, I don't. Smith, sorry, I just completely stole your thunder there, mate.
No. I actually do agree with you, Chris. It's more the fact that because I've been thrown the messages, what do you think about Cerra, Green, Cripps, and who's the other fucking one that we talked about a moment ago?
Okay, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 out of those 4 players.
I've got Cerra 1, Cripps ahead of Bailey Smith only because he's got the role where Bailey Smith's going to lose it in 6 weeks or should lose it in 6 weeks. So Bailey Smith 3rd, Tom Green 4th.
Chris?
Fucking hell. I can't believe I'm being asked this fucking shit question. I would go 1, Cerra, none of the rest. I would not touch any of them.
That's not the game, Chris.
No,
Learn the game.
That's it. I've only got one option. One option is Cerra.
That's not fuck, no kill, mate. You've got to fucking tell me.
I'm going to go Paddy Cripps number 1, Cerra number 2, Smith number 3, and I'm not fucking mentioning Tom Green. He says while mentioning Green. Okay, so...
Look, by the way, just on that, I don't hate Tom Green if you already have him. But I'm not trading him into my team to be a semi... How would you call that?
I've already got one ringer in my team, Chris. Do you have a ringer in your team?
I don't. Might be exactly what I'm missing from my team.
Yeah, I think you need a little bit of red.
The problem is, and I know a few people listen to Tim Mitchell and a few others on Twitter, but the comparison...
Love you, Timmy, by the way.
People are making of him with Clary at the same time and that. But Clary is a different beast than that. Yes, Tom Green will turn into a very good midfielder, but he's not going to be Clary. He's not Clary in the next 10 weeks. And that the scoring that Clary did at the same time and that. If it happens, feel free, tweet me at the end of the season and say you were wrong. No problems. But Tom Green is not going to come out and start scoring 120 every week.
He's built more like a Cripps anyway, Greeny. So, yeah, it's interesting. In a keeper league for sure. Go nuts. Interesting. All right, so
I just don't think it's not the time. Can I also say this? It's just not the time to be bringing in these fucking speculative bullshit picks. Like, I understand after buys, you're fucking scrounging around. You got one more premium to get. You got like limited trades. Then you need to go and grab like fucking some shitty 350, 400k midfielder that's probably going to spud it for the rest of the fucking season. But whatever, I've just got to grab him. I get that. But we're about to go into a part.
Do you, Chris?
I do.
Do you?
I would say a lot of people have a lot of premiums, and we're about to go into a section of the year where we have an extra trade every week where we can maximize cash and bring in actual decent players. So why are we looking at these fucking shit prep? I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's as I said, I agree. Cerra is the only one I could think some sort of relevant.
Feisty.
But it's all if you push them on the side, it's Isaac, Heeney, Air, and then we move on to those 4 midfielders.
I completely agree.
I'm happy to talk about Isaac if we want to move on to it now.
Yeah, let's do that. So obviously,
who are we going, Heeney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason is it's the same reason that I just mentioned, but you don't necessarily need to bring in Heeney because he's a keeper. I don't think he is a keeper. I think there's other forwards. Obviously, Dangerfield's one, but you're gonna want. But with his break-even's 11. He's got he's got 110 and 86 in his cycle. He's going to make you cash. You just know that already. Even though he's playing forward, he still scores well as a forward. You just hope that for the next, until his bye, he can at least get you some sort of 80s to 100 and spikes that cash gen, makes 100 grand, and then you can trade him out to anyone you want.
And the perk with Heeney too, Carlton, Saints and Hawks are the next 3.
But it's not that. Even also, like, if you wanted, you run out of trades, he's not the worst F6. He finishes with 3-0 Essendon, St Kilda North and Suns, and the Swans are fighting for the 8. So if they're still in that position come those last 5 games, we know Heeney's scoring potential, and he's done it twice before. He's been a top 6 forward. So if that's your worst player in the forward line, where all these forwards are so up and down, Yeah, well, what's the downside?
Yeah, and like just to compliment that as well. I mean, the forwards are averaging shit anyway. What does he need to average top 10? What, like 90? Like, what is it right now? Like, okay, cool. He's probably going to be able to do that. Let's say, like, best case scenario, you can push him to F7 and just loop him. Like, there's options with Heeney, and he's 50K cheaper minimum. It blows my mind looking at these shitty midfield options, like trying to pick a breakout mid-season. Doesn't make sense.
Well, backing that up, Chris said, taking out these 6 injured forwards at the moment, Jack Darling in 16th, which is actually 10th of the playing forwards, is 89.6.
I mean, I don't know what else I need to say about that, but if my disdain was not enough there, it should be. All right. So is that what we can move? Are we moving on?
We move on.
We move on.
Okay.
Oh, far out. I feel. Does anyone else feel sweaty?
Yeah.
I've been watching Cops.
You've been definitely.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up.
Sorry, I've been feisty. I know.
I like it. I like winding you up and just watching you go, Chris. It's lovely.
You watch the followers this week. Oh wait, you don't like the Simpsons.
Yeah, it's going up. Chris doesn't have clarity. I get to do those Clary jokes. Oh, by the way, you haven't had to make a Josh Kelly joke this week. That's quite nice, isn't it?
Oh, can I?
Oh, here we go. Wind him up.
Honestly, Josh Kelly's game, like he had 25 disposals, but he had the most game high in tackles, game high in clearances, game high in score involvements. But of his 25 disposals, 7 of them were direct clangers. The rest were effective. So he either kicked it to a target or he kicked a clanger. There was no in between.
Yeah, Chris, if he could merge with Clayton Oliver and Kelly could just play till halftime and Oliver could play the second half, they would be the perfect Supercoach player.
I absolutely agree with you, 100%. But how good was... Oh, dude. And might I also add, Clayton Oliver's first half where he actually got 72 by halftime, that was the worst 72 I think I've ever seen.
You don't say that.
I think, Swizz, me and you were chatting over watching the game, and we were like, how the hell is Clary even close to that score? He was just...
And how was that second half, Chris, watching him go up and up and up and up?
He had 4 free kicks I think, didn't he, in that first half? That's the only thing that saved Clary. And they ended up being like he got a miraculous goal from a clearance, just snapped over his head out of nowhere and goes, oh,
left foot.
Went through. Didn't even know it was there. Oh, okay.
Okay, sure. You give him take those free kicks away and he gets a 180. Okay. That's me being Chris.
His second half was outstanding.
Oh, huge.
Only betted by Patrick Cripps against the Brisbane Lions 2 years ago in that.
Oh, fuck, I hate you sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Back when Crippsy was a good player, right?
Hypothetically, Cripps, when he was a good player and Lachie Neale stopped after halftime. Hypothetically, if the game is moved or postponed this weekend, Essendon versus West Coast, does that change your plans for this week or next week, boys?
I don't have any Essendon or West Coast players, so no.
Me either. No, but then would that change it? Because then next week, your Zach Merritt's, you could pick him up because, you're looking at cheaper options and he's already had his buy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've only got Zachy Merritt, so as long as I can cover that. But, yeah, the Ridley factor for me.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
we do have an Essendon player. We forget about him because he plays so well. It's not Essendon-like. That's why.
Honestly, the way Ridley plays, he just sort of rolls across. It's like rolled gold across the ground. And when he takes a mark, I'm like, I didn't even know that was him. Like, it's just silent but deadly. He just looks like a smooth assassin.
It's like a Dutch oven on the field.
What?
Smooth and deadly. Okay, so then we would have Ridley. Okay, so you've already got Ridley and Zach Merritt then.
No, I don't have Ridley. I've just got Zach Merritt.
Okay.
So you're not going Ridley at all then?
I will if they freaking have a bye this week.
Yeah, true.
Zach Merritt's in a question for me. I mean, I'm in... So,
Zach Merritt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Merritt.
So, I'm in a position where I only have 3 premiums to get. Steele is going to be one of them. So, that leaves me 2 more. One of them is going to be a midfielder and one of them is going to be a forward. I'm actually looking towards Neale and Danger just due to upside of both of them. So...
You're hoping Neale can rival Clary, is what you're saying?
Yeah, at the moment. Isn't Clary the number 1 player in Supercoach right now? Pretty confident he is.
No.
pretty confident he is.
He might be.
I think he's the total scorer.
Well, actually, Clary should have been mentioned in our cash cow.
Mate.
Yep. He should have been mentioned in our cash cow. He's meant to go up 70,000 in the next 2 weeks to be 720,000.
Can't bring him in now. So I think Neil he could come back. I mean, he's had obviously time to rest his back. He's repairing. I think the first week, he might come in and have a mediocre game, which is good because his break even's 96, and then you can pick him up that second game. Or you could just ride the gauntlet and just bring him in. He's at a cheap enough price his first game back.
Hopefully he plays before the bye, has that week rest.
I would love that.
That would be perfect. Yeah. And then you bring him in. If he comes in straight after the bye, I think I might even just jump on him. Why not? I am a glutton for punishment. He's cheaper than Lions. I might just have to do it.
And with Zeeble having a few off weeks, and I think that Hall has definitely impacted Zeeble. And I'm watching them play together. What I've noticed is that they are using Hall as the run and carry outlet, and they're using Zeeble as the kick.
Yeah.
So it's Zeeble to Hall, run and carry, long bomb. Now, that hurts Zeeble because he was doing a lot of those long kicks, and I don't think that he has that sort of 120 ceiling that he was posting up earlier in the season now. I think he's more like a 105 average for the rest of the season, which is still really good, and it's still going to be probably the second or third best average in the forward line this year, so I wouldn't trade him out, just so everyone's aware. But what that means is that Danger is still likely going to be the clear and obvious best forward for the remainder of the season once he starts playing. So I can still see Danger averaging 105 to 110 in his sleep for the rest of the season. So, I really want Danger as my last forward, which means I'm not looking at a Nick Hine type. I'm not looking at any of the other forward options. I can see the appeal with Heeney because that's a cash cow situation. But outside of that, none of the forwards for either of those teams.
I'm actually a little bit concerned now with Impey. I know he's someone that's just been chipping away, right? But the last sort of, 4 weeks, he's gone 74, 116, 82, 91. Now he's chipping away, and the forward line sucks that bad that he's definitely not the biggest option, like the biggest issue. Will Day is meant to be coming back into that side in the next couple of weeks. It's Will Day, right? So that's my concern is that's going to impact his scoring. Either him or Giath, one of them, but I think
Giath has been shit the last 4
I know he has, but I think Impey's type, it might affect his scoring where he might actually go back to those 80s to 90s that we're expecting. Does anyone else feel me on this or not?
I understand. I just don't think it's that much of an issue if he is scoring 80s or 90s.
No. But then he starts doing that and he goes down to 400. He's not the worst option to have on your field, but
you're going to waste the trade to sideways to a Nick Hine or someone like that to get an extra 5 points.
No, but if he holds on to that sort of price and Danger comes back soon enough, then he could be the other option.
Yeah, that's the only way I could say it. Impey to Danger.
If you're going up. I wouldn't go sideways.
Yeah, there's too many around his price that are just the sideways.
Yeah,
honestly, it's a sideways to side bottom right now.
Yeah. No, I do agree. Interesting. Okay, I think that kind of wraps up most of the strategy side of things. So you're trying to free up cash to maximize, to make sure you have 18 on field each week, which is very important throughout the buys. So this is something you should have been working towards.
Yeah, so what we would usually find in most normal years is that we build a bank towards going into that first buy round so that after that buy round, you can start bringing in the premiums from that buy to enable you to play through that buy. But you need to have cash to be able to do that. Now, unfortunately, because next week would be usually that week that we did that, and it doesn't look like there's any rookies that we're going to be able to do at the moment. Now, having said that, again, we could potentially go early on people next week. That is fraught with danger over the buys. Main reason is they're in there for 1 week, they get dropped the second week, then they have the buy, and then they don't come back. And it happens way too often. That's why I think the double down is very, very important, because it gives you cash to be able to take towards that buy. So, yeah. I mean, if you already have cash, it's not that much of an issue.
True. Swizz, what are you thinking?
I don't think I can bypass Heeney this week. That's my probably biggest issue at the moment. I'm really hoping the Essendon West Coast game turns in the bye is my round 12. I'm a bit opposite to a lot of other people who around 13 and 14 seem their biggest struggle at the moment. My round 12 is actually my worst for my buy structure. So it'll be Heeney and then something else, be it do I downgrade to Madden or Weightman, or do I look at something that'll help fix that? But
Madden or Weightman both fix that, by the way.
Yeah, well, they do, but I don't think I can bypass Heeney either. So it'll be a case of, which one do I want to go down to? What sort of cash? Because I've got Scott and probably McNeil both close to on the chopping block. There's a couple other things I can do in my team, but there's another part of me like, well, maybe I just go one and leave the extra trade. So like I'm sitting pretty comfortable in that. I actually didn't talk about how I went, but I left 62 points on the bench this week and still scored 24.75, which now put me 451st. So for me, it's just trying not to have too much damage and then set myself up for those with that round 13 and 14.
Yeah, it's fair. I think my big one's 14, probably because I think a lot of the rookies and stuff I'm holding, like Jordan, etc., I'm going to move them on, but I need to really maximize that cash over those buys to then get them to make sure, because I think I need quite a few.
My premiums are really balanced right across the board, but my rookies are the issue. Yeah. And the thing with rookies is you're not going to know until the week.
No, that's true.
There's no point in trying to plan around rookies outside of the fact that you want to try and, I think, backload them because you're going to trade them out. So that's why guys like your Sydney rookies, your Collingwood rookies, or your who else has that back end buy? Sydney, Collingwood. Those are the main two rookie options, I suppose. That's why it's important to have those guys because now, unfortunately, McCreary's been injured.
Yep, he's out for a couple, so he has to go.
Well, if he's out for 2, he may come back for round 14. He may not. I think you just punt him.
Yep, I do agree. Maximize that cash. Okay, now let's get into our favourite segment here, boys. Captains.
Hey-o.
Didn't forget Swizz.
So, Swizz, you start, mate, because you are the captain's man.
Well, there's a few choices for Friday night's game, which is probably the easiest for people to loophole. So you've got Oliver, McRae, Bont, Gawn, among others. I don't mind Gawn if they, depending on who's rucking for the Bulldogs this week.
I was going to say the same thing. Well done.
Yeah, so though McRae and Oliver, it's hard to go wrong with them. The perfect world would be they shake hands at the start of the game and the end of the game and they just run around and do their own thing.
Oh, surely Libba goes to the Clayton after that week. There's no way he gets a free run this week.
There's
literally no way.
As soon as he gets it, Libba's going to just hammer him.
Libba's a chance to go to Petrarca?
Nah. I think they're totally different players. The ideal...
Bailey Smith could probably run with Petrarca.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
They're the ones that shake hands and say, see you later. Yeah. I just think that that in and under type, where Clayton is his most damaging is at the contest and at the clearance. So who's the best clearance player in the AFL? Libba. So I don't know there's no more better matchup in probably the entire AFL than Libba versus Clayton Oliver right now. There's two guys that are absolutely playing out of their skin in and under. Why wouldn't you? I think that's what the people want to see, right?
I agree. So what are you thinking after that, Swizz?
Well, McRae is probably the better option of those mids. And then currently at the moment I have Grundy captain. Geelong ruck situation's always an interesting one. It would depend on who Geelong names as ruck. But outside of that, I found it a little bit more difficult to find the captain choice this week. Kelly's playing Brisbane, so and I don't really like putting somebody like him as captain. It's hard because Melbourne and Bulldogs all playing each other. There's not the obvious one compared to a lot of other weeks. A smoky could be Laird versus Richmond. We've talked about it all year, how we love to get points up to midfielders. But at the same time, it's a big risk to put a captain on somebody like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, I talked about this on my team pod as well. I'm probably looking at Gawn or McRae, depending on how that sort of matchup goes. I think McRae is probably the one he lifts for big games like this as well. He could be a fairly safe 120-odd. Gawn, based on the upside, depending on who he's rucking up against. Again, another big game. We're talking about top of the table. This is the kind of game that Gawn will definitely show up for as captain. This is a game he will prepare himself for. I see him going absolutely nuts and doing everything he can to insert himself around the field. And then for me, Grundy, I think, again, safe call. When you look at the sit show for Geelong like to play sort of slow kick mark as well. I think that kind of helps Grundy be able to get around the ground, probably some more stoppages. So Grundy is captain for me.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. And I think there's also a point to be made about safety in numbers this week, because if Sweet's solo rucking, I think 90% of people who have gone, which is 90% of the comp, are going to be VCing him. So I think you cannot not do that. It's just not the week to be taking a punt on someone else.
Yeah. Pretty much most of them will be going McRae or Gawn as VC and then captaining Grundy if that falls through.
I'd also like to say I think that Harms probably tags this week and it's going to be either Bont or McRae. I think it's more likely going to be Bont than McRae, but there's that option and I think that will happen this week. It'll be interesting to see. I still think Grundy obviously against either Asava, which is what they've been going with, or Stanley is the clear captain option. But I actually don't mind Tom Mitchell against the Suns either. So
that's the other one I don't mind.
Yeah, so a little bit of a backup. They're playing at Teo. That's Cairns, isn't it?
No, Darwin.
Darwin.
So I don't know if that plays into it in terms of factors, but that's an interesting one. I just let the listeners and viewers, I suppose, without YouTube, but search for Supercoach Insider. So Bruce is listed for a test this week. I don't think he'll be playing AFL, but he will likely be playing VFL. So I think the likely situation is he'll play the next 2 weeks, so next week's an AFL bye. Play the next 2 weeks in the VFL, and then week 3 he will be playing AFL. So
interesting.
Kiss Flynn goodbye after this.
We also said that about Marshall a couple of years back. Chris, remember that?
Yeah.
Billy Longer was going to take his spot, and then he got delisted. It's interesting, and even the commentators were saying that Flynn is actually quite enforcing, and he's been doing well. That it's Flynn's going, not Flynn. So Bruce is going to have to actually show some form in the seconds to knock him off, because even Griggs. No, not Griggs. What's it? Briggs
is killing it.
Yeah, he's killing it, but he's not going to knock these two out. Mumford and Flynn actually both played really well together. Flynn went forward, kicked 2 goals. He has to play this week.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that Bruce actually comes and replaces Mummy and not Flynn.
Yeah.
So, look, we'll see what happens.
Did you see the specky from Mummy? And then they even put it, the article they put out.
Yeah, good. It was so good.
He thought there was a 4-20 pie, so he thought he better get up there and
he hit his max speed for the entire year or something.
That was some good data.
And that they'll spend the entire rest of the year just copying it from Mumford about it. That was so good. Well done.
Fair. Swizz, any last comments?
No, guys, it's as we said, just try to get that cash and that final buy preparation. Good luck to everybody.
Swizz, can I just say you bring a really well-balanced demeanour to our conversation. I mean, before it's me with the rationale and Chris with the egotistical bullshit, and then I think you round us out really nicely, mate. So if you are listening or watching, can you please do comment as well? Do you like the Swizz Master? I think he really compliments us. And that's it from me as well.
I appreciate it. I just find this as a more relaxing chance to balance out my life compared to when I'm on Twitter where I'm just fucking
Yeah, here's I'm going to be professional. My wife is listening to this podcast.
Professional? This is like semi-amateur league. Well, that's why we got started in this as well. It's just because we talk footy anyway. As you know, we talk through the chats as well a lot about football, but this is what we do. We got it to express ourselves, to talk football in this sort of vesicle that we are using.
I agree. And look, that wraps it up for us. I just want to say one final thing before we go. Congratulations to the Liverpool Football Club for making the third place on the ladder after a horrendous year. And good luck to the Lakers in their playoff week this week. Let's go for the win.
And to all the Clayton Oliver's owners out there that VC'd or C. Actually, I am interested. Some people, last comment, were commenting saying, should they use, I think it was a Port Adelaide and a whoever else was 3 teams as the loophole, Murray or something or other, Murphy, Collingwood. Yeah, Murphy. And everyone got through unscathed. The 3 games that had the 3 loopholes. Yeah. If you rode that train with me, please do comment. Let's share.
I really enjoyed that. No one ever.
Let's bond over that VC workout. And that's
all good. Congratulations to you guys for being lucky and just getting on Clayton Oliver the one week that he actually fucking scored well.
Thank you. All right, that's it from us, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.